Hey there guys, so the video I posted earlier today showing my 3-turn clear to farm red pearls on Morturrim was a lot more popular than I expected, and a lot of people asked, how can I make it more accessible if I don't have things like, the reflect ring, extreme resistance gear, evasion for the entire party, Venera, bulwark, a bunch of the stuff that, when I made the video I didn't really make the team in the video intending for it to be like more accessible, but it was requested. So I've adjusted the farm team to make it more accessible. So here is the basics of what I did before, but significantly cheaper. Not to mention, you only really technically need 5 units. You can use that last unit slot for whatever you want. An extra finisher if your Sephiroth is not as strong, an extra buffer, whatever you want. So we've dropped Venera, we're bringing Jessie instead. We've dropped all the resistance stuff. We're going to be using Jessie to provoke instead, and Ling is just going to be for buffing. Aerith and Sephiroth are going to be our damage dealers. Well, Sephiroth is. And then Adele is for support. So the only thing is this does still need an incredibly powerful Sephiroth to solo carry the fight, but most of the limited stuff has been removed. I think all of it, actually. So let's go ahead and do a clear, and I'll show the team and explain the changes afterwards. So it's the same basic concept, 3-turn clear, but, we have just made it way cheaper, and we're using only 5 units. And again, use that last unit slot for whatever you could possibly want. So Adele is going to start off doing Madam's Encouragement on Ling. We're going to do Stone Killer, and we're going to use her to amplify the party with Dark Enhancement. So we're not using Bulwark anymore. Ling is going to start in the base form, then she's going to shift on turn 1. We're going to triple, we're going to Blithe, we're going to medium stance for Undead Killer, and then just Passionate Performance. Doesn't really matter, we just need to do something for the last cast. Alright, Jessie is going to triple, we're going to do Full Breakdown to break the boss, Refurbish Grenade to imperil the boss, and Ace in the Hole to accuracy down the boss. That way we need less evasion gear in the party. That's a 25% accuracy down, so we only need 75% evade on the units. Sephiroth is going to LB, and Aerith is going to cap it. Or, I'm sorry, Aerith is going to LB, and Sephiroth is going to cap it. I had it backwards. So we're doing a little bit less damage. We're using less buffers than we did in the previous run, but it should still be fine. So with the boss's 25% accuracy down and then 75% evasion on the party, that's all we need. Jessie is provoking. Jessie got imperiled here. Now, in my first video, I just geared enough resistance to ignore the imperil to make it, less clicks and easier. But if you can't do that, we're going to be using Madame Adele to Rage Beast Roar on Jessie to dispel the imperils. Now Jessie on Lakshmi is going to use Unstoppable Protection for stop immunity. Again, in the first video, I just geared everyone for a stop immunity. If you don't have all the STMRs to do that, you got to buff it. Not a problem. So we buff stop immunity with Jessie. Now, this turn the boss is going to do some more attacks, etc. But we're going to use Ling to triple. We're going to Blithe. We're going to Celestial, and we're going to Dragon Dancer. That's going to refill everyone. It's also going to 4 times Mirage the party. And make sure your Ling has enough HP to survive killing herself like this. But, ours does. So we're going to go ahead and LB Sephiroth again. And we're going to quad Flame Fang with Aerith to cap that LB. And now that Sephiroth is stacked up, this will push the next threshold. So like before, the boss is going to do a lot of attacks, but this time, because Jessie, or our Provoker, got dispelled, we don't need all that resistance gear, we only need 100%. Yeah, pretty simple. Okay, so we did get attack broken, because again, we're not using the limited stuff, so Sephiroth was not using the anti-decay amulet. So to get rid of that attack break, we're going to Rallying Dance, which cures attack breaks. Also, the boss has buffs, and he cured his debuffs. In the first video, I used Perfect Dispel. This time, we're going to use Jessie's LB, which is filled up thanks to Ling's LB fill last turn. And that removes the boss's debuffs and puts up an 87 break and a 120 imperil. We're going to use Adele to entrust on Sephiroth, and he will just LB, and Aerith will cap it. Now this is going to be the little bit tricky part, because we're using slightly weaker buffs and an overall weaker team. We're not using 90 break, we're not using 130 Dark Imperil. We're not using 30 Dark Amp. The Sephiroth might not one-shot. The boss has approximately 600,000 HP or 600 million HP remaining. I'm not sure how much damage he's going to deal. Let's find out. But that last party slot, if you come up a tiny bit short, okay, we did 6.9 or 690 million. We actually overkilled by 90 million damage, but you know, okay, about 100 million damage. Yeah, so the boss has 600 million in phase 2 remaining. You know, this Sephiroth was still fine, but if your Sephiroth is only EX2, maybe slightly weaker, use that last party slot for another finisher. I'm not entirely sure. Some great options. I guess like Lara Croft could work. You could use, I don't know, use your best finisher. You could even use old finishers like Zidane or something. And yeah, as you can see at the top, I've actually finished farming. I already have all 3 pearls. Yeah, I farmed a bunch of orbs earlier today, and I got 2 more pearls. So I guess they're not as rare as originally thought. Someone told me on Discord the probability, it's like 1.21%, but there's 3 different chances. So it's 1.21% times 3. So it's something like a 1 in 33% chance per run of getting a red pearl. And I got all 3 red pearls. So I'm technically done with farming. But there you go. There is a significantly cheaper way to do the clear. And let me show you the gear and all we use. So again, this last party slot, fill it in with literally whatever you want. A finisher, a buffer, another chainer, something. It's whatever you need to do the clear, but you don't even need that if your Sephiroth is strong. So the rest of the party is Avalanche Jessie on Lakshmi. Lakshmi has stop immunity buff learned because the boss does do stop on turn 2, so that makes us immune to that. Jessie has passive provoke naturally, and we've geared her for 100% evasion. So 100% evasion, passive provoke, and she only needs 100% to fire, earth, and dark resist. You don't need that crazy 300% that I did earlier. All you need is 100 to all 3 because we use Rage Beast Roar to remove the imperils, and the imperils happen after damage for the turn. So if you dispel the provoker, you're fine. So 100 to fire, earth, and dark, full evasion, and she's naturally passive provoke. This is the gear we gave her, extremely cheap gear, her own TMR, and a little bit of resistance stuff, and a small amount more evade because she has high evasion naturally. And then her LB, you want to make sure it's like leveled up so it's cheaper. Her LB is an 87% break and a 120 all imperil, and it's also a perfect dispel. So it's really good to use that on turn 3. And then for turn 1, we use Refurbished Grenade for the 100 dark imperil, and we use full breakdown. I guess we don't even need full breakdown technically. Refurbished Grenade does 80% break as well, but we use full breakdown, I guess. And we used Ace in the Hole. Ace in the Hole is a 25% accuracy down. For the Provoker, because the Provoker is eating single target attacks, and also on turns, I guess technically the Provoker only needed 75% evade as well. I geared her for 100. Yeah, I guess Provoker only really needed. Oh no, the boss cures its debuffs. Yeah, make sure the Provoker is 100% evade. But everyone else for the AOE only needs 75% evasion because we're using a 25% accuracy down. Ling, start her in the base form so we can do triple cast, and then with just the TMR equipped. And then shift form, again, is just using the TMR and enough evade to reach 75%. So 75% evade, and that's it. That's all she needs. And make sure she does have approximately 16,000 HP so she can not kill herself from the damage she's going to be dealing to herself. So 16,000 health, 75 evasion, and her TMR or STMR equipped. And that's it. She didn't provoke this run. Aerith, shift form, all that matters is 75% evasion. That's it. We don't need stop immunity. We don't need status immunity. Nothing. Just 75% evade. Done. We'll come back to Seth. Adele, same thing. 75% evasion. Base form. That's it. And we gave her Rage Beast Roar. This allows us to dispel the imperils off of Jessie on turn 2. And make sure you use the dispel before you cast stop immunity from Lakshmi, because you don't want to dispel the stop immunity. So on turn 2, first thing, dispel the imperils off Jessie with Rage Beast Roar. Then after that, Jessie does the stop immunity buff. And then Sephiroth, we didn't use the base form at all. Shift form, only needs 75% evasion. So last time I was using Fallen Moon, a limited time STMR to make him 100% evade. We dropped that, so now he's just using Kairos's TMR, a 4-star TMR. He has 80% evasion because he's got 30 naturally, and he's getting 50 more from the double colorful lay, which allows him to be at 75 or better evasion. Other than that, he's got Undead Killer and Stone Killer, 300 LB, 300 Reaper, 275 Stone. Chain cap increased from the Magistr's Helm. Yeah, so Sephiroth is still very, very well geared. This is still a very critical unit for the clear, but the rest of the party has been made extremely cheap. And then there's his setup. And okay, so I'll go ahead and post a turn chart in the comments, just so you can follow along easily. But there is a way to really cheaply farm red pearls. You can also use this exact same clear to just clear all the levels. If you're like stuck on level 8, stuck on like level 44 or something, and you're like, oh, I haven't done it yet, and you have these options, you can use the exact same party to clear all the way to level 99 as well. It works for both advancing the party as well as farming pearls. Okay, see you guys next time.